This is episode 351 of the OotiniCast live, going out live on twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Then it will go up as a YouTube video automatically, and after we edit the audio part, then it will go out as a podcast tomorrow. So let me just go ahead and tweet this out and just kind of get the rest of my computer better set up. Looks like the stream is going. That is good. Get this tweet sent. Okay. /OotiniCast.
Really quick, let me test something before we get started.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm not starting the official podcast quite yet. So this is the raw version of the show with any flubs or mistakes left intact, and of course that's what the editing is for the actual podcast. Okay, I see Deck's working on his notes, and Doc is too, I believe. We'll give him a minute. Got a bunch of tip of the weeks, so actually let me do that right now. Go to random.org.
Alright, I'm recording again.
Hey,
yeah, I think you can thank Iron Spider for the burst of tip of weeks. He made a comment in Discord that
nice.
Something about how he'll finally have some competition, so I think everybody in the guild decided to post something.
Dekion, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Has BioWare officially said or not said that the bug hunt is fair game, or do they view it as an exploit?
Oh no, it's fair game.
Fair game, okay. You're sure?
I am. They addressed that a long time ago.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I want to talk about it as, part of... I've never done it before, and I did it now, so that's part of my what have you been up to, and I don't want to endorse or get my account deleted.
Oh, no, not at all.
And who was it who sent the shout out about the tips, Deck?
Iron Spider.
Iron Spider.
Cool. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
I think so.
Okay. Excellent. Looks like Marcus is here. Awesome. All right, let me let me have a little more water, and then I'll go in just a few seconds.
Yeah. Actually, oh geez, my headset just killed me. Let me look at my sound volume. Do I sound okay to you, Chill?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay.
Clear, pretty loud. I always turn down the volume so it doesn't bleed a little anyway. But given that, you sound pretty normal to me, so it's all good. Maybe a little low.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go too much higher.
Can you say something? I'm turning
test.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, I might be tinkering with it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as the volume from me talking, it looks normal in Audacity, so should be fine.
Cool. Do you need a couple more minutes, Deck, to get your notes finished?
No, I'm just jotting this stuff down.
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right. Well, if you're okay, then I will get going, and I'll probably throw it to you first. That's kind of our normal way to go.
Yep, let's roll.
Cool. All right. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that is not about lifting rocks. This is episode 351, being recorded on Thursday, January 3rd, 2019. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, Dr SWTOR. Hey, Doc.
Hey, Chill. Welcome to 2019.
I know. Crazy, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and our guest today is from the guild, Dekion. How you doing, Dek?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Excellent. Tell us what's going on with you and what's going on in the guild.
Oh wow, just coming off of the double XP CXP event. It's pretty good. I ended up getting 3 tunes up to level 70, so that was awesome.
Nice.
All 3 of them doing the quick bug hunt trick. I kind of stepped it up and did it a little bit differently this time. The moment I generated the tune and checked my mailbox, I was able to get a invite to somebody's Rishi stronghold, and then I had them kick me out. Once I did that, I opened up all of my exploration boosts in my legacy and just ran around that first map of Rishi City. That was able to get me up to about level 16. From there, I was able to fleet pass, grab the heroic for the mission to get to the bug hunt area, and spent the next 2 or 3 hours killing bugs.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty fast doing it that way. Of course, when you're done, you then have to burn through the first couple of planets to get to your, to get through the story enough to get to your ship, so you can pretty much do anything else in the game.
Right. And where exactly is it inside the bug hunt or the Rakghoul event?
It's just on Balmora. I forget which heroic that you take to get there.
Oh, it's one of the heroics. It's not actually not the Rakghoul. Okay.
Question of motivation that puts you. It's sort of underground, and what makes it great is there's a ton of gold enemies, gold and silver enemies down there that respawn like crazy. So you land on the planet immediately, LFG for bug hunt. Usually you'll get invited into a 24-person group, and then you just start killing. And as people hit 70, they drop off, and new players join.
Okay. Very cool.
After that, I was able to start popping all of my CXP candy that I've been keeping since the last double CXP event, and was able to get my homebound smuggler, and I call him that because he really hasn't stepped foot out of my stronghold. I was able to get him to 300, which completed all my classes and gave me Resolute Commander. So I've gotten all classes to 300. Guild-wise, last week's Joyride, we took advantage of the Flesh and Steel story on Osis, and we had probably about 12 or 13 Ootinies join up, and we looked for other heroes on Osis, and killed both of the bosses to get our 252 main hands. And afterwards, we went and ran an op. So that was super fun.
And which operation was it?
I believe we did Karaga's Palace.
Excellent. That
Other
sounds
than
awesome.
That, I've just been running tunes through Osis, trying to get my 252 gear and my data crystals.
Yes.
And Dekion, how many chess pieces have you gotten?
I have gotten 4 chess pieces.
Yes!
Yeah. Random. Gotta love it.
Next week is going to be kind of nice. I will achieve the highest reputation for Osis, and we'll start being able to purchase some of the 258 gear. I've been saving my crystals, and each tune has gotten at least one piece of the gear. So by this time next week, I should be mostly 258s on at least one character. And hey, BioWare, I never ran Gods from the Machine.
What? I put so
Pretty
much effort into updating that for you, Dekion.
Other than that, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that does sound like a really fast way to level for the. And what was the heroic again that you choose?
A question of motivation.
Question of motivation
on
Balmora. So there must be just pub side, and is there one on the other side, on the Empire side?
I asked. Go ahead.
It only works on the Empire side.
Oh, sorry, Empire side. Okay, so it is Empire side.
There's whispers and rumors of something that you can do that's sort of similar on Nar Shaddaa
Okay.
on the pub side, but there's a bit more running around trying to get all of the kills.
Okay. Very cool. All right, thanks. And Doc, how have you been? What you been up to?
I've been doing really good. I've been playing a lot of OSIS and a lot of SWTOR, but I haven't been doing the same things I normally do. You know, normally I have my week is structured around the two ops teams that I'm in, and with the 2 week break for Christmas and New Year's, we just reconvened for Goonies Never Say Die, which is our Utini Guild's team on the Empire side.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still working on Dread Fortress, and it was really nice. You know, I really enjoyed getting back together with the other 7 people and working on bosses. And we had one poll that gave me so much hope that I could build a rebellion, but it got snuffed out this time around. We'll get it next time. But it was a lot of fun. I have my main sorcerer up to full 252 gear as of yesterday, and so that the way I did that is I only run OSIS on sages and sorcerers, and I would only claim left side gear with the main, so the implants, the earpiece, the relics. Killed the world bosses, put that stuff into legacy weapons, and do the weekly event, which the first 2 weeks was get an 8 medal in a PvP match. And that's really easy to do if you understand your class and which medals are available by beating down other people, and which medals are available by understanding what you're supposed to do on the map.
Right.
So that was an easy one to get for a lot of different tunes. Then this week and last week, that event was 4 master mode flashpoints, and I did that on 1 sorcerer and 1 sage last week. So I have yet to even go to OSIS on anything that is not a sorcerer or sage, but I'm fine with that. BioWare seems to have set it up so that if you want to gear quickly, you kind of have to do that. And so my other tunes that don't throw things out of the tips of their fingers, or rocks off the ground, so to speak, they're just there to craft. So
Right.
Every time I decide, oh man, I don't have anyone at 600 in this one, just get an officer to invite another tune. So I have a trooper I'm leveling up right now, and she's on Coruscant right now, but her crafting is at like 470 out of 600.
Oh, wow.
So like I'm not playing with her, I'm just slicing. I need the grade 10 slice tech parts or whatever they're called, so I can do some augment kits and things like that. In the show notes, I included a screenshot. I also did a bug hunt on to fill my need to have a second sorcerer in guild.
Okay.
I already had her with her ship. She was on Balmora already at level 32, and it took me about 90 minutes to get her to level 70 doing this method, which is like there is no other reward like that in the game at all, not even close. I also asked the group leader during this epic bug smashdown if there's a Republic counterpart, and he said some people will tell you that there is, but there's nothing like this. It's like even when you're in the 60 to 69 range, you're still getting a new level every 2 to 4 minutes.
Wow.
Just based on which mobs are respawning together. Like there's one composition of if all the spawns line up, literally in 15 seconds you'll just see your experience bar just chugging to the right.
Nice.
And then since you killed all of it all at once, it slows down after that. But it's so cool to see that happen. So that's been my week, Chill. So who do we have with us tonight in the chat room?
All right, good question. We've got Active Energy, Anu, Deck is here, and you are here as well. Evan04111, Infiltration 10, Inkata1, Namigal is here, and we'll be talking about her email in a little bit. Naraga, Positivity Bot, Pen is here, Pendracos, Racevan, Sir Galahard, Skinny Seahorse, SWTOR John is here, V&K, Virgo Praz, Marcus is here, Working Class Nerds 17, and Zen001. Hello everyone. All right, I got my Snape cosplay sorcerer up to level 67. He just happens to be on Rishi at this point. And then I did some travel in my personal life. I was kind of AFK for a few days. This is actually the first time in over a year that I hadn't streamed every day. So it was kind of a break from what had become a long habit. But it was nice. Got to see my family. And then when I came back, worked on a Phoenix / Jean Grey X-Men cosplay character. Sort of the, well, not just sort of, but the mirror class of the Lightning Snape sorcerer. So instead she's a telekinetic sage, and which works pretty well with that character. You know, lots of throwing things around, and I'm always, as a cosplay thing, I'm always taking Force Persuade when it's available because of the telepathy thing. So there you go. And there's a fair bit of it in the Consular story, actually, like more than I would have guessed, and probably more than most other stories, I would say. But we'll, you know, I haven't actually counted or anything. I'm pretty happy with how she looks. I'll have to do a picture of her later, though, because I'm still kind of working on her outfit and stuff like that. I did finally get some boots that work pretty well today, and so it's coming together. And the nice thing about, I'm doing the green and yellow outfit, that one, sort of the iconic one for me at least. Although doing the Dark Phoenix one would be basically the same exact outfit, but with red and yellow.
Yeah.
So that would be easy too, but I haven't bothered getting that yet. The green and yellow is working fine so far. And I'm doing it mostly light, but with some dark side. And then maybe, who knows, maybe I'll just swap her over to dark and then change her to Dark Phoenix at some point. But I am enjoying the process. She's up to the end of Act 2, basically. She just finished Hoth, so she has a little bit to do. That will end Act 2 of the class story, and then she'll be on to Act 3. And yeah, she's not quite level 40. I think she's level 38. She was getting a little bit ahead because of double CXP, but then that went away, and now she's kind of fallen behind again. But I haven't been doing it. I haven't been doing I haven't been doing any bug hunts or anything, so it's all good.
Isn't that the worst feeling ever when experience gain goes back to normal?
Yes. Absolutely.
It is so terrible.
Yeah, and you're right, and the CXP especially goes away. Yeah, it feels really good to get some of those huge numbers. Like you do a daily area, and you're getting, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of CXP points,
Right.
and then it gets cut in half, and it feels really bad.
Right. So Chill,
Yeah.
I need you to promise me you're going to do something with your Jean Grey character. Okay.
Okay. What specifically?
You can pick any important bad guy from the story. I don't care. It just needs to be a kill that your character would relish. You have to finish them with the heroic moment flamethrower. Like,
Okay.
just, you know, do all the telekinetic stuff and then just, you know, torch them and, like, then change the outfit to that red, yellow, and play that way for the next couple hours after that. Like,
That
just
sounds
do
like a
that
good
for
idea.
me. And you'll have the Doc roleplay stamp of approval. That's not a real thing, but if I did roleplay, I would be torching people with a Phoenix cosplay.
Good idea. Yeah, and I'll swap her from light to dark for that period of time too.
Yeah, just do it. It'll be great.
Awesome. All right. That'll bring us to the tip of the week, and we have 5 of them this week. So, and thank you to Iron Spider. He gave a little shout out that netted us some extra tips, which was awesome. Let's see. So the first tip is from Chad. When making a new character, getting your ship will be critical. Even speed leveled up to 70, you can't start any further chapters without access to the terminal on your ship. So yeah, the ship you do need the ship terminal. So yeah, even if you do the bug hunt or whatever, you end up needing to go back to your story and at least getting it through the capital world, which is when you get your ship. Agent Iron Spider himself sent the second tip, and he says, here's my tip. A problem that many of us can relate to is our CXP booster running out on us just before we take down a boss. One thing I found to help with this is to put my boosters on my ability bar. Most of the time it'll be blued out, but as soon as the timer runs out on your current boost, it will light up. And then just make sure you have some boosts in your inventory. Makes sense? That's a really good one. And let's see. And from Naraga, or Brian, for those who periodically add mods and enhancements to the XP boost armor, which I haven't been leveling with the XP boost armor. I have it, but unless I really feel like cranking through, a story really fast, or if I feel like I'm falling behind, perhaps, I usually don't send my new characters that. I find that the double CXP is enough for me, but I do have it. And if you do have the XP boost armor, Naraga noticed that it is actually less expensive to not remove the mods and enhancements when updating them, starting with level 56. So for example, level 18s cost 250 to buy and 140 to remove, which is negative 110. 34s cost 600 to buy, 390 to remove, negative 210. 48s, the net is negative 230. At 52, 220. But at 56, level 56, it's plus 180, plus 275, and then plus 155. So I typically only do level 48 and 65, so nope, not big bucks, but one of the ways to have money is not spend more than you need to. And also note that Naraga says note that I just realized removing the XP boost armorings is free, so it'd be even cheaper to have a couple of legacy sets and then flip the armorings. So there you go.
I have to talk this one through, Chill. So there are people that take the armorings from that legacy, or from the legacy XP gear, and put it into the orange legacy gear with the shield icon and pass it that way, so it's not in the ugly robo suit.
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I'd be so afraid that I would lose track of where it is.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole system for making your character look however you want. So for me, that would be, I would rather keep it in the original as well. I thought, yeah, I didn't realize that you could actually move those around, but I guess apparently it works.
One, it costs like 12 credits per gear piece to do a costume designer.
Right, at level 1.
It's so cheap compared to the thousands it takes to do a new one at level 70.
Yes. Right. Try to do it before you go to Balmora, for instance.
That's almost a tip of the week in itself.
Stealth tip of the week.
Stealth tip, yeah.
when you make your tune, go ahead and open up, all of the tabs, because it's super cheap. By the time you're level 70 and you want to open that 8th or 9th tab, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of credits.
Yeah, exactly. But also creating the outfit itself, when you imprint it, that's also a lot cheaper at level 1 or whatever. Level 10 is even super cheap. And then it starts climbing pretty quickly after about 10 or 20, something like that.
Yep.
All right. The next tip, I believe this is this tip 4? Yeah, tip 4 is from Moralist SWTOR Smurf, or aka Shako Tasith of the Starforge. A little bit of a mouthful on some of these names. Common knowledge, but rather helpful. When doing the overheated Life Day gift droids on Nar Shaddaa or any other planet, if you can't see the droid everyone is targeting, which sometimes happens just because there's like so many melee people just banging away at them and all that sort of stuff, and they just sort of, and also they just kind of get crowded with like everyone being around and everything else. Anyway, what you should do is target someone in the crowd and then choose their target of target, and it's also handy with other big groups, so that's always a good one. And yeah, that's just generally a good tip also. It doesn't necessarily happen a lot, but sometimes in war zones, for instance, you'll need to be figuring out, how to target the one who has the hut ball, or someone else who's being kind of swarmed, and that's one way to do it more quickly and more surely than trying to click on them directly in those situations. And let's see. One sec here. Okay. All right. And let's see. And then finally from Sinwolf. Let me get this. Let me get my screen reset. From Sinwolf, I know the GSI missions and droids have been around for years, but I just started working on the armor for my achievements. Let's talk real here. You get the GSI Triangulation Enhancer Mark 1, and you can purchase those. But don't waste your time and money for that small effect. Use a Cybertech crafter and make the MK2 versions. They are much more useful, even in just the accuracy improvement. You will actually notice the accuracy indicator on the Mark II. And happy hunting. So there you go. Yeah, that's right. The GSI, if you are doing those ever since that came out, it's been recommended, try to keep a buff up while you're doing those, because it's really annoying to do it without a buff. And yeah, the MK1s to MK2 is quite a bit of difference, so that's excellent. All right, by a random allotment, the winner is Sinwolf. So congratulations, Sinwolf. You're the winner of a Tonfon or M83R Droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided Cartel Market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. That will bring us to the Jedi Mind Trap. Dr. SWTOR?
All right, so like I said, I've been playing a bunch of tunes this week, specifically just to craft, because I decided I have all the mats now. I need to start cranking out the superior critical and alacrity augments 48, and you just need a lot of different crafting tunes in active status crafting in order to keep doing that. So... also, 5.10 brought us a whole new angle to crafting. I've talked with a lot of people in Guild who are deciding, are they going to spend all that money on all these armor sets that they're never going to be able to craft unless they buy hundreds of millions worth of stuff on the GTN. And
right.
I was just, I'm in that crafting mindset. And also, as a side note, even though I asked questions about crafting in my dissertation, it did not make it into the publication at all. Like, I just never spent time analyzing the numbers on that one. So I've always had in the back of my mind, like, I need to take the time to give credit to crafting and crafters. It's an important part of the game, and it's neat to see BioWare add a new angle and new ripples to that process. So I just wanted to ask, with 5.10, all the old ways we've been crafting and the way it affects the GTN and the availability of goods, but also the new stuff, just the new processes. How are we feeling about crafting in the game? So we got 39 votes from the community today on this one. And before we review those results, I want to talk to Chill and Dekion. What's your connection to crafting, if you have one, and what do you think about its place in the game?
I actually don't craft really for profit. If I need a relic or an implant or an augment for one of my tunes or somebody in the guild, I'll go ahead and craft that. The idea of crafting some of the in-game gear where the mats are extremely ridiculous, just it doesn't
Right.
appeal to me at all. It's not something that I'm planning on doing. So I would have probably chosen option 5, which would be useless.
You didn't vote, Dekion? Come on.
I did vote. I voted for broken and pricey because that was the closest to useless.
Oh, I misheard you. I thought you said you would have voted. Okay. So you got the helpful but not for me?
Nope,
No,
I was broken and pricey. I was part of the majority.
Oh, okay. What about you, Chill?
Yeah, for a long time I had gotten away from crafting. I'm just starting to get back into it, mostly because I've been realizing, like, if I'm doing all this leveling and I'm putting these alts in the guild, it feels a little weird to, like, not have, since if I'm not doing a lot at endgame, I'm not contributing a lot towards the guild conquest points every week. But this is a way to sort of quickly add a fair bit of extra conquest points if you're doing a leveling tune. Because leveling tunes, you're just not going to get that many points along the way. You'll get a little bit of rampage when you happen to be through a planet that is the rampage for that week. There's a few other things you can get along the way. If you happen to do some war zones, maybe you get some points that way, or flash points. But if you're just leveling through the class story, which is what I like to do for the stream, there's just not a lot of conquest points there. So by doing by starting to do the crafting and learning all the different crafting in the game, I'm actually getting a reasonable amount of points towards the guild each time. So I feel a little bit better about that. Also, I just haven't done it in a long time, and so it's interesting to see like how it feels different. One thing is for sure, and that's those. Well, the name of it changes, I think, from profession to profession, but you have to make those basic 1 to 10s. Yeah, and then they get turned into the actual items. And the nice thing about that one is that if you want, that's all you have to do to level up, at least. I mean, at endgame, you'll need to do other things, but when you're leveling up, the 1 through 10s will actually get you all the way there. And so all I've been doing is grabbing those, and then I grab whatever recipes will actually be useful while I'm leveling for that character. And for the most part, I just ignore the rest, except I do pick up the conquest and stronghold bits along the way. And then if there's something interesting, then I will also pick those up. For example, I'm doing an artificer on the Phoenix character, and so I'm picking up all the dyes. I haven't picked up the color crystals. I would probably like do some research and see whether they actually sell on the GTN really well or not. I'm imagining not, but I would like check that out first, and maybe I would make some of those. But I'm thinking the dyes might be an interesting buy, and also just something that would be useful to have. I think I have an artificer somewhere in one of my many dozens of characters, but not at endgame, not at 600. So this is also a way for me to get all the crafting achievements, because I don't have them currently. So for me, I'm choosing the helpful but not for me, which is sort of accurate, because like I'm doing it. It has some benefit, but I'm not doing end game crafting for sure at this point, and I'm not really making credits off of it very much at all either. In fact, it's probably still credit negative at this point, just because I'm using credits to get all the recipes, and then sometimes I have to buy a few of the items from the vendor or whatever in order to get the things leveled up. So yeah, so mostly helpful for not for me. I'm hoping that I can turn that into maybe Path to Prosperity once I've gotten everyone up to 600 and I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit more. I did take a look when I was on Osis at the recipes for the endgame armor and stuff, and whew, that is a lot of stuff that is like not easy to get. And tons of like the stuff that is relatively easy to get. It's like lots and lots of like the regular stuff it takes as well. So really expensive to make those items. I mean, it can be useful, especially if you're really looking to min max and you're in an operations group and all that. But if you're just if you're more casual or you're an alcoholic like I am, that's going to be a rough way to go. So so helpful but not for me is like the closest. So I'm going with that.
Okay, I really wanted to give options for answering that would allow lots of different people to sort of project themselves into at least one of the options. So broken and pricey, that actually spun out of an actual conversation I had with an ops member in one of my old groups about crafting back during one of the years where it was probably popular to believe BioWare didn't care about crafting anymore. So I always think in my head, like, is it broken and pricey? Is it broken and pricey? But it's really expensive to get all the schematics now if you're one of those people that has a real hard time that green icon above a vendor that indicates they have new stuff supposed to buy because they are your crafting vendor and haven't bought them out yet. And I know there's lots of people who like to check that, have to feel like they didn't buy anything. So it's like a completionist motive. So that is 51% of the 39 votes answered broken and pricey. That's far and away the lead. One person, uh, I think I might know who this is because they thought it was funny that I worded option 2. Great, I farm master mode gods. I just wanted to see if we have any of those people listening to OotiniCast. If you are listening to OotiniCast, I would like to be your new best game friend. Sorry, on, but I think that me and 6 other people could have a nice arrangement. I can hear you, and you can carry me through the master mode gods, and it'll be great. I don't know anyone who is farming master mode gods. I actually think it would be really cool to hear from groups who have beaten master mode Isaacs, and just let us know here on OotiniCast. Send us a screenshot. I'd love to be able to give you a congrats on our podcast. I know that you're probably not doing it so you can get mentioned on a podcast, but I would like to know that it's possible. So, I think it's neat that all the new stuff that came with 5.10 is incentivized, and that's one of the incentives for going into that operation on that difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Option 3, helpful but not for me. I know a lot of people who like to buy this the other people craft, but they don't have any interest in sending their companions to go do all that extra work and get this number of things at grade 10 and buy this number of white components and then make these assembly components or cell graphs and then just keep shuffling those columns until everything's green and we can hit craft. That's not really fun for me, but I do it. So that's option 3. 31%. So about 13 people, I would guess, out of the 39 answered that. Maybe 12. And then 15% said a path to prosperity. I don't necessarily mean that you craft just to take everyone's in-game money. It can also be whatever makes you feel like your playing is successful and prosperous and enjoyable. That's the positive answer. I kind of grouped the people who do it for financial gain and the people who do it because it's a fun element of their play into one category. It's about what you project into the answer, because I'm limited to 4 answer choices.
Right.
But I think that at the end of the day, I think BioWare has constructed something that's been part of the game since the beginning. It's been popular. It's been kind of lackluster. I feel like it's in a good place, going in the right direction. I'm trying myself to figure out how deep the 5.10 stuff goes, because I'm just scratching the surface. All I've really figured out is how to do the dailies quickly, the method for destroying the world bosses without your group playing terribly, and the costs of the 252 gear when it comes to the masterwork crystals. So I wouldn't say that I'm even crafting in a 5.10 way yet, but thanks everyone for voting. So broken and pricey is what BioWare gets to take away from this concept for today, but let's see where it keeps going. And with that, let's move along. Chill.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I would imagine actually though with something where the idea is that you can create sort of end game gear, that is always going to be sort of a minority thing for just a handful of players, because if it became too easy, or if everyone could do it and do it easily, then it would kind of wreck the whole curve of gear for the rest of the game. So I think there's always going to be at least a large number of people who consider it broken and pricey, and then it's just a question of how they balance it from there. So
can we take a sidetrack here? I want to talk about that because it kind of fits into the update and maybe where the news is going to go to. Like I said, we did our op, Dekion, you and I, we did our Red Fortress last night. You used some 252 gear on your tune. I wanted to ask you, did you feel like it impacted your character's output? So your DPS, so did it affect your damage output and your utility to the team?
Actually, I have noticed that tune, who is in 252s and has a pair of 258 boots, compared to the previous time that we ran, which was I guess prior to Christmas. I did notice that it seemed to be able to burn down some of the trash and some of the ads and stuff a bit faster.
Okay.
And
I just wanted to ask, yeah.
I also noticed that my durability was a bit higher.
Okay.
So,
I felt like that would be a good thing to talk about because I'm a healer and for our team, and I didn't notice a difference. In fact, I felt like last night was really difficult. Almost the same level as difficult as 2 weeks ago when I had 11 fewer 252 pieces and 6 fewer 240 augments on my character.
Looking at star parse and going over the numbers from last night, I did notice quite an increase in DPS output. It wasn't, dramatic, going from 248 to gear rating 248 to an average of 253. But it was a difference between the previous weeks.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm encouraged because I was kind of wondering, is it even worth it today? I when I heard that there's 2 new gear levels and they're not increasing the bosses and the difficulties and the HP and they're not enraging mechanics or anything, I was thinking, oh, it should be easier to progress now. And I was kind of sad that I put all this effort into running the OSIS weekly so much, and as a healer I felt exactly the same as I did 2 weeks ago. So for DPS maybe it's just easier to notice in the numbers what's happening.
I think in general, I believe that since they haven't retuned the ops or any of the content for the new gear except for Master Mode and possibly Veteran Mode, Gods from the Machine, I think 248 is pretty much your standard. That's really all you're going to need, if you even need that, depending on the content that you're playing. I've been stuck at 248 for a couple of years on a couple of tunes, so the idea of being able to raise my tunes to 252 or higher, to get to that in level min max 258 is a new challenge, and so that's where my interest is.
Okay. Yeah.
It honestly has nothing to do with can I burn this boss down faster? It's finally something new it's a new goal that I can kind of aim for.
See, I'm different than that, Dekion. Like I look at it like if there's no, like if I'm not burning the boss down quicker, then what's the point? I've actually been really questioning it. The command crates help you get to 248. The unassembled components help you get to 248. OSIS is fun, but I've played it so much on Sorcerers and Sages that I've been questioning, is this a journey that I want my mercenaries and trooper to go on? Is it a journey that I want my operatives and smugglers to go on? So, just remember, they didn't tune up the bosses, so, the quest to do 252 is only as important as mentally you make it. So I guess that's like an offshoot of the Mind Trap, kind of. Like, our motivation is our own, and, you should enjoy the game if you're playing it.
Is that spoiler alert for next show?
What?
Is that a spoiler alert for the next show?
I mean, that's kind of what I'm all about anyway, is, don't just play because it's there. Play because it's helping you be yourself, but better, right? Like, it's funny that a game can make you better, but I really believe it can. So, all right, Chill. Thanks for indulging my extra question about if the gear matters. It just kind of felt like a really powerful idea in that moment.
All good. I think I kind of pulled us back onto it anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Now we can move along to the holo feed, and let's see. Since people are coming back from vacations and stuff like that, we'll kind of go over where everything is. Double XP and double CXP event did end. It ended Monday night going into Tuesday morning. However, the Life Day event is still live, and it will be until January 15th. So especially if you're at end game, if you're at level 70, you will get CXP points when you get one of those packages. So there's no reason not to throw snowballs until then, especially if you're at end game. Unfortunately, if you're leveling, you only get like light and dark side points, and then the package itself. So it's not nearly as valuable, but still, it's there. It's there until the 15th. So we've got not quite 2 weeks to go on that. Relics of the Greed just ended, but on January 8th, the Rat Ghouls will be back on Corellia. So if you're looking to do some Rat Ghouls, that'll be coming. And in the meantime, Eric Musco had a question for people regarding arena maps. Hey folks, for starters, Happy New Year to all of you. At some point, the PvP team is likely to start work on a new arena map. One thing that the team requested is really understanding what each of you like and don't like about the current maps. So among all our arena maps, which one is your favorite? And there's a little like link in his thing there. Please answer that question in this thread's poll. Then let us know in this thread why that one is your favorite. Also feel free to add which arena is your least favorite and why, being as specific as possible. So it looks like there is going to be some more work from the PvP team coming up with another arena map. Because it's related to ranked arena and a ranked PvP play, it's probably a good idea that they keep coming up with new arenas just to keep that from being stale, and just to give more balance, more just variation as well. I think if people got the same arena maps all the time, well, granted you'd get really good at them, which would have its benefits, but yeah, it might benefit certain classes more and stuff like that. So I think overall it's probably a good idea. I don't really play enough PvP right now to say which arena I like the best. I thought the new Mandalorian one was sort of interesting just because it has that big raised area. And so if you have like a knockback, it's a relatively easy to knock people off of that, and it takes a little time to get back up to the top. So I thought that one was kind of interesting because of that. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I have too many ideas on that. Do you guys play enough PvP to have an opinion on this?
I was just Googling what's the list of PvP arenas in SWTOR.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could name them. I know there's the raised Mandalorian.
That's
one.
the new one. Yep.
Yeah,
there's the Rishi one that has all of like the board plank bridges.
Yeah.
There's the old Tatooine one.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what the other ones are. There's the kind of like the underground, or at least inside a building one with a couple of like raised bridge areas.
Corellia? Is
that Corellia? That could be, yeah.
I think so. Okay. So that's 4.
I know there's at least 1 or 2 more, but it's not springing right to my head.
So to answer that question, no, I don't PvP enough to even know the list of all them. Musco, why don't you give us bulleted lists in your posts?
Well, maybe it is in the actual thread that they had, but I didn't link to that, I'm afraid. At least not yet.
Okay.
I might have to look at that. Zen in the chat is saying, I much prefer regular war zones to arenas, and I understand what he means. I kind of do too. In general, I prefer, in almost any game, like, it doesn't even have to be SWTOR, but it can be other games. If there's going to be PvP, I prefer there to also be other goals within the map, just so that it's not just it's not just a big furball all the time. There's actually things to do and ways to outplay people and stuff like that. So I do prefer regular war zones to arenas. When I get into an arena, I do appreciate the fact that it's relatively quick and it's relatively simple. So I don't hate arenas, but I do kind of prefer war zones with all their mechanics and so on. So,
what about you, Dekion? What do you think about, if this, how can we help Eric with this question?
Maybe tell him to focus on bugs from 5.10 first.
Oh.
To answer your question, I'm more of a Warzone person. I need other goals than just the quick kill. However, That being said, I do like arenas because they are quick, and I'm not a PvPer.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and then I wanted to do a little talk about just since we're at the new year, talk a little bit about Star Wars this last year, and then Star Wars going forward to 2019 and perhaps beyond. First of all, within SWTOR, is there anything that sort of stands out to you from this year? Let's say Deck. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm looking forward to the expansion. I'm hopeful for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we've got a lot of things, Star Wars coming up, Celebration and a couple of new TV series and the final act of the Skywalker saga coming up at the end of the year.
Right, that's in December.
I think that this is a terrific time for SWTOR to just shine, and if BioWare does anything with the next expansion like they did with 5.10, and aside from the bugs, I'm talking content and the amount of content and thought put into OSIS especially, I think that they have a chance to knock it out of the park.
Cool.
We've got not even the next expansion. We've still got 5.10.1, which is going to introduce a new ops boss to OSIS, which I'm very much looking forward to that too.
Yeah, and I do like OSIS. I think they did a really good job, both with it as a daily area. Also, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed seeing Malgus return and some of the new other characters who came along for the ride, and that was so that was really nice. And Doc, how about you? From this past year, let's say.
Well, there are a lot of things about the game that I still really like. Even after all these years of playing it and thinking critically about it and trying to research it too. And, I talk with people all the time about the things that still interest me and the things that I hope to research. And, in game, it's still fun for me, and I still haven't accomplished what I want to accomplish. And I often wonder, would I still be playing if I had won some of those things? Some of those down some of those bosses on some of the difficulties that I haven't. And I think I would. I wish there were more operations. I think, it was this. Isaacs is not a year old, right? He's like 6 months old, right?
Yeah, I believe that's from this year.
April, something.
Yeah, so that's a big accomplishment for what BioWare gave us to work on. We have that op. SWTOR Unite was something that I have always wanted to see, and because of where I happened to be and what I was doing on that random day in October, that became a real thing, and it got to show people who maybe don't play ops that much, what Gods from the Machine is. So for me personally, that was a really big thing, to do something that was more oriented around SWTOR than around my research, and that was fun. But so the op is completed. We have started to break away from the chains of the command crates and, the random nature of, getting our stuff.
Right.
So, I still really enjoy the command crates, though. I think it's a nice pat on the back for playing and accomplishing some things. I don't think it's the best way to gear up. I don't know what we're doing on OSIS is the best way to gear up either. Like, I'd have to think about that. I think the direction of the game is potentially fantastic, right? Is that acceptable? Potentially fantastic?
Yes.
I think Star Wars Celebration is going to be hopefully a really great thing for the Star Wars community. I think it's really easy to look at what's going on in the world, read some news, watch some things on social media, and listen to some people complain about one or two of the most recent Star Wars things and think that it's all bad, but I don't believe it is. I think that we are going in a great direction. I'm really hopeful that BioWare achieves the success that it needs in all of the areas of what it does to be able to keep making this game great. We're on a cliffhanger right now. You know, Darth Malgus is flying over to the Republic to break some stuff on Ossus, and that is not where the story ends in my mind. And I'd really like to see that instead of, you know, have to fan fiction it in my head for the rest of my life. So, you know, we don't have officially. I mean, I guess we have officially an expansion coming, but we don't know when or what or how. So, you know, I definitely think you bring back Malgus, you have a concrete plan for the next shaft we're going to throw him down. So, you know, I'm always excited for Star Wars stuff, even if it doesn't sound like it. I really am. You just have to trust me. So, how are you feeling about it, Chill?
Yeah, for me, I really enjoyed Ossus. I mean, the story was great, and you know, the Traitors trilogy was wonderful. That was roughly a year ago. I don't remember exactly when all those came out, but I enjoyed that, and sort of seeing the changeover of the Alliance from being a major galactic power to being just sort of a group of you know, powerful individuals sort of banding together, but without that sort of like massive force behind it. And so yeah, that was interesting to see that change and how well they handled that, because they did it in a way that let you keep all your companions and keep the Alliance in its essence, but also strip it of its galactic power. So that I thought that was very clever the way they did that. I rather enjoyed that. And let's look forward a little bit. So we already went over a little bit of this, but probably the first one is almost certainly going to be Celebration in Chicago, because that's in April. Obviously, Deck and Fee are all over that. SWTORista, who we had on a couple weeks ago, she's all about that too. Very exciting, very cool. Zen in the chat room is saying not only just screaming about Celebration, but also hoping that there'll be an announcement of the next SWTOR expansion at that point, and that would be great. I would love that. I hope it does come. The devs have talked about an expansion, so we know that there is one in the plans. We just don't have any idea about, you know, when it's going to come or what it's going to be called or any of the details about it, really. I mean, we assume we can make some basic assumptions, you know, what an expansion looks like based on the expansions that have come before, but all the expansions that have come before have also had their own wrinkles and changes and differences as well. So, you know, I'm presuming it's going to come this year, just because otherwise it's a really long amount of time between expansions. So presumably it'll be 2019, but we don't actually know that. They have not given any indication of release date or even, you know, attempted release date or anything like that. But I would love it if they did a big announcement at Celebration. That would be great. I'm hoping for that. And I know you guys are all excited about that too. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is opening in 2019 in both Disney World and Disneyland. I would love to go. I'm not sure if I'll be able to this year, but I'm sure at some point I will be visiting that. Everything I hear about that it just sounds more epic than the last time I heard about it. I mean, it sounds like these are going to be really major. They're like whole sections of these parks. The design sounds amazing whenever we get little details and little snippets of it and so forth, and it sounds like it's going to be really big too, so it's kind of cool. Are you guys planning on visiting the Disney World or Disneyland resorts?
I'm not sure how logistically that will work. I mean, it really depends. I don't know when they're opening, but I will say this. Last year when I was at a conference in Florida, I got to visit Animal Kingdom and go to the Pandora, the Avatar world. What Disney did with that was impossible. Just amazing. So, you know, what can they do with Star Wars? Like, I think they're gonna print money for themselves. I mean, I think they're going to put something together that is like people who get to visit. That's going to be a defining moment of their life if they like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in.
Oh, hang on a second, Doc. You're kind of cutting out. Okay.
Oh, I am?
You sound a little bit better now. It's happened once or twice through this show, but this time it was really strong, so I wanted to stop you so you can start again. Go ahead.
Oh, just the stuff that they have over there already related to Star Wars. Like in the Disney Springs, they have the Void where you do the VR as a stormtrooper. I got to do that last time I was in Orlando, and it was amazingly cool. So I just feel like what they can do, turning an entire segment of their theme park into Star Wars, is going to be amazing.
Right. So. Yeah. Also, as mentioned, Star Wars Episode 9 is coming in December. We don't really have a lot of details on that other than the cast list, which is more or less who we expected. I'm very excited about it. I finally bought The Last Jedi and Solo, actually, and watched them again a couple times, especially over my little trip that I took with my son, because I had downtime to actually do that. And I like Last Jedi more and more the more I watch it. It definitely threw me the first time I watched it in the theater. Second time I watched it in the theater, I kind of got it a little bit, and at least I understood what they were going for. And now that I've seen it again, it's like, okay, I'm pretty happy with most of their choices. I'm still a little weirded out by the Mary Poppins bit with Princess Leia, and a little bit about the green milk as well. But overall, I kind of get it, and and they're doing a lot of interesting things with the lore, and in some ways, they're actually like going back to the roots and kind of bringing out things about the Force that were there all along in the original series, and in the prequels, but kind of tended to get buried by all the the action adventure aspects of all these movies. And bringing out some of these, sort of non-actiony angles of the Force and of Star Wars in general. So I've been enjoying that, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Episode 9. I could see them, going any which way, and I could also see them pulling way back because maybe there was enough of a reaction that they're going to feel really conservative, and they're just going to pull back and try to make something that just will make as many people as happy as possible without actually expanding any ideas or tweaking any noses or anything. So, but I'm all I want it to do is be good. So yeah. I'm not too picky about that. What do you guys think about Episode 9?
Can't wait. Looking forward to it, and listening to you talk about The Last Jedi, I just recently found on my iTunes digital copy that it includes a version of the movie that doesn't have any sound effects or speak. It's only the soundtrack. And sitting there for the 2 hours, over 2 hours, listening to John Williams' soundtrack for The Last Jedi was amazing. And, it actually made me like that movie even more.
That's cool.
Getting to Episode 9, I think J.J. Abrams has a chance to knock it out of the park. He did excellent with Episode 7, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Very cool.
I think J.J. Abrams is a really good choice to return to for Episode 9, because Episode 8 is a middle chapter in a 3-part story. I think a lot of the reaction to that movie is the uncertainty of understanding what the third chapter of a 3-part story is supposed to look like, if that is the second part of our 3-part story. I think Episode 9 not only has the potential to be a great Star Wars movie and a fine conclusion to our Skywalker family story, I think it has the ability to retroactively enhance Episode 8 if you're in the crowd of people who Episode 8 is not your thing. Which, if you remember back in the days when I was a guest on the show, I was one of those people. It took me 6 times watching that movie while grading papers. 6 consecutive work days. That was my grading movie. And so Monday through Friday, and then that next Monday, I was like, I actually just got chills on the crate scene. Like, what Luke did on that planet finally became worth it. Like, the whole movie became worth it for me. Now, I always loved that scene. Like, that was the beacon of hope. Even after the first viewing, like, my argument was never like, oh, they killed Luke Skywalker. You know, that's not why I was upset at all. It was more like just the approach. I feel J.J. Abrams made Episode 7 so that it would fit as an extension of something that very probably could happen after Episode 6. And let's show how much I really respect Episode 4. You know, there's a lot of the same beats. Just, you know, what does it look like when you have a whole bunch of people growing up in a sheltered society where all the tough battles are just fairy tale stories your parents told you? They're not real. The evil is imaginary and not truly evil. You idealize that evil and you become more evil than that original evil was. So that's the first order to the Empire, you know, that they were idolizing something that was truly terrible. And then the older people, you know, that's the neat thing about the first story is you see that there's older people intermixed with all these really young people who so were not alive during Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And so that's the stage, is like, that's why they built an even worse Death Star, because they were kids not alive when there was a Death Star, listening to their parents like grandiosely discuss how cool it was that they blew up the Death Star. It's like, you know, their teenage rebellion was like, screw you, you should have never blown up the Death Star and build a super planet Death Star. So, you know, from a human like I'm talking about human development here, like I'm being a psychology professor on this, but I really love Episode 7. I think that J.J. Abrams took how humanity works, love for Episode 4, the desire to connect with Episode 6, and I think he can do the same thing. Like, he's going to find the things he loves about the story with Episode 8 in it. He's going to find the things he loves about where Luke Skywalker is at, where General Leia is at. And he's going to create an episode, I think, that makes Episode 1 through 8 feel like they were worth it. Plus Solo
cool.
and Rogue One.
Yeah. Yeah. And finally, the other thing that's likely to come this year are the Mandalorian series, the last season of Clone Wars, and possibly the Rogue One spin-off series, although that may well be in 2020 instead. They're all coming. Presumably they're all going to be coming to the new Disney streaming service. That seems to be what Disney wants to do with pretty much everything they own, not just Star Wars. But do any of those stand out for you? Is like, out of those three, let's say, is there like one that you like must watch compared to the others?
Dekio?
You know, I'm looking forward to the last season of Clone Wars. When Clone Wars originally aired, I didn't really watch it and only got into it early last year. And Fee and I couldn't get enough of it. You know, we watched it on Netflix and just binge watched it. You know, stayed up all hours of the night on work nights to, you know, just one more episode. You know, just one more episode. And so knowing how it ended and then finding out that there's going to be another season, that was really awesome. The Mandalorian, I'm hopeful about, because knowing that it's going to be on the new Disney streaming channel, I hope that it's darker than some of Disney's other shows that they have. And I think if it is, that's gonna be a winner as well.
Right. I have no idea if they have like an official policy for the Disney streaming service, like if new content for that service has to be, you know, very PG, or can it be PG-13, or could it be R-rated, or, you know, and how they're going to handle that. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, for me, I would say Clone Wars as well. The Mandalorian, I'm up in the air. I just have no idea. It sounds cool, but don't really, it's the sort of thing that it'll depend a whole lot on the writing and the directing and the acting, and we assume the effects will be good, but but all those other things, I have no idea whether they'll be good. Well, with Clone Wars, I mean, I'm hoping that with some of the people working on it who worked on it before, that we can expect a certain level of quality there and a certain level of sort of commitment to the same general storylines and so on, and tying up all the loose ends, since they actually do have a chance to do a final season. And then for me, the Rogue One is sort of the second most interesting one. Like I said, not that I'm not interested in Mandalorian, it's just I'm kind of waiting on that one. I'm just a huge fan of Rogue One. It's just an amazing movie to me. So I'm kind of, I think it's probably I'm probably over optimistic on that one, but I'm very interested to see what they do with that one, and it's sort of an interesting angle as well for me, just to see how they do sort of like an espionage angle of the rebellion and that sort of period of the Star Wars history. So that's how I'm going. How about you, Doc?
I'm most excited for the Clone Wars because my son and I are watching it for him the first time. He's 10, and we're 3 episodes away from the Mortis arc, and that is for me the best Star Wars animation. That that 3-episode thing made me fall in love with the series. Jar Jar, the episodes that are all about taxes and about people talking a lot about things, but that to me is what Star Wars is. It's the Force, it's the Jedi, it's destiny, it's the battle between light and dark personified in the characters, and I can't wait for him to see it. Hopefully I remember to go on a tangent about it next recording. But for me, the chance to finish that story, I really hope it ends with a 1-hour episode of the Chancellor getting captured. That feels good to watch immediately before you start the crawl of Revenge of the Sith. That's the reason you made this animated series. Is to give us the whole story that leads to war, heroes on both sides, evil is everywhere. That
right.
first
so
line.
You'd actually like the series to end with the star battle over Coruscant just starting up, essentially?
No, I want to see the Chancellor on Grievous's ship. I want them to go into orbit. I want Mace Windu to say something to Yoda about what are they going to do to get him back, and then Yoda to say something it's up to Kenobi and Skywalker now. Because the first shot we see after the crawl is them showing up. They go past that Republic.
Exactly. That's what I'm.
Capital ship, and
that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
You see everything. I want it to feel like something that leads right into needing to see them show up. They need to be clearly the only hope.
Right.
It's a good idea. It reminds me a little bit of the original, not the Solo movie that we have now, but in the EU, the Han Solo trilogy of books, where it actually takes him from birth. I mean, the first few pages literally go through his childhood very, very quickly. But then the very end of that trilogy, the last page is him walking into the cantina where he's going to meet, Obi-Wan and Luke. And and so that would have that sort of same very fleshed out, right up to the last moment feel. And that was always great in those books. So I think that would be amazing for Clone Wars as well.
Rogue One did it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Rogue One had that same feeling. Good point.
Vader's going to walk down that hall, dump the crappy ship that they just destroyed into space, and then follow that hyperspace jump. And that's the beginning of episode 4.
Right.
So Like I'm so excited. I love to see stories be completed masterfully. Um, I think Star Wars is in a really neat place right now. You know, they have to finish what they started.
That sounds good. All right. Well, that'll bring us to the force feedback where we read out your tweets and emails. And we've got one from Nami Gal. And we've actually set it up, hopefully, for next episode to have Nami on the show. Nami writes, my community streamer event will be on January 5th, starting at 12 p.m. and going through 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 3 to 9 Eastern, give or take. I will, and this is literally, I double checked it. It's twitch.tv/Namigal, Namigal. I will be starting on the Darth Malgus server for approximately 2 hours, then to Satil Shan for 2 hours, and ending on Starforge for the remainder of the time. I've decided to create this event because I wholeheartedly believe in promoting and supporting the SWTOR community. We really didn't have much of that when I started just 6 months ago. There were a few prominent streamers out there, but definitely not the numbers we see today. I can't tell you how it makes me feel when I see so many of us out there streaming a game I fell in love with almost 2 years ago. I'm blessed that I helped influence some of you streamers, and will do whatever I can in making this tight-knit family a tight-knit, family-oriented environment. Having said that, I would like each and every one of you who would like to participate to stream on that day. If for some reason you'd rather not stream but would like to participate, you're more than welcome. My hope is we can come together on this day, get to know one another a bit more, give each other a follow, and above all, have fun. And I can say for myself, I can't concentrate on numbers. I'm just happy that someone out there wants to watch me with my bad gameplay in a game I hope never dies. There's an excerpt from my post in my announcement section in my Discord. Feel free to pare down. Let's see. I'll have to put that in later. A big thank you for the promotion. Please join the Discord if you'd like to participate, and if not, she hopes to see us stopping by the various streams that will be up that day, and we'll be streaming on a multi-Twitch platform to make it easier for the viewers, which is very cool. And again, that's twitch.tv/NamiGal. So thank you, Nami. Looking forward to seeing you. I will be streaming on Saturday, but I have some family stuff as well, so I will try to kind of join in at some point, but we'll see how that goes. And are you going to be streaming on Saturday, Doc?
I haven't been streaming for a while, not on purpose. You know, I'm not quitting streaming. I just have not been I've been sick, so there's that. I'm feeling much better today. But I also haven't been gearing up to do content, not gearing like gear, but I haven't been jumping into content that I feel like streaming. So anyone who's a fan of me or who consistently jumps in, you know, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll be back into a regular schedule soon. You know, there's just a lot of doctor stuff going on right now. So
all
no,
right.
I'm probably not streaming on Saturday. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /c join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room, and thanks, Deck.
Yeah, thanks everybody for having me again.
You bet.
Great having you, Deck.
And we'll see you guys next show. All right, everyone, we're going to keep recording. Thanks, everyone, for coming along. 2 weeks, hopefully Nami will be coming on. That's the plan. We're going with that. And I'm hoping to see her on Saturday as well, online, and we'll go from there. So you guys take care. I'm going to start doing my editing. I also have to have dinner with my son, but take care, and we'll see you soon. All right, so I'm going to stop the stream here and stop the broadcast.